Hi guys, and welcome back to our second part of our tutorial for lesson 6. In this part we are going to focus on creating CSS, so cascading style sheets, and we're going to look at an external style sheet. Now, to create a style sheet, a separate style sheet, is very easy. Okay. Last week what we did is we added in style tags into the head of our document, and we placed our styling rules inside these tags. So for example, we did something along the lines of H1, don't forget the curly brackets, and we looked at, let's say, colour, again the American spelling, and we used the hash, hexadecimal, 8B, so something along those lines, and that applied styling to our H1. Okay, so I'll just save that and I'll just run that in Google Chrome. So we can see that the title here has changed to this navy blue as opposed to the black. Okay, so that applies the styling there. Okay, now today we're going to do something slightly different. We are going to use styles the same as we did last week, although we're not going to put it in the head of the document. We don't need those style tags there. We will add something to the head of the document later to link our sheet, but what we need to do is we need to open a new file. So if we go File and New, and then we need to set the language of this file, because in Notepad++ or brackets, whatever you're using, you can use multiple languages. So I'm going to change the language to CSS. So no, it's a CSS, it's a style sheet. And then I'm going to start to build my styles. Now, a lot of the styles are very, very similar to the ones we were using last week. So for example, our body, background colour, and again we'll get our hex in. F5F, 5DC. Okay, so there's our first part of our style sheet, and again we'll go down and we'll start to build our H1 heading, our heading tag, and so on. Okay, so we start to put our rules in, just as we did within those style tags to complete that sheet. Okay, so it may take you 5-10 minutes to get this typed out. The beauty of it is once it's done, once we don't have to do it multiple times. Okay, and so on. Alright, now when you want to save your style sheet, you have to make sure that it's saved in the same folder as your web pages. So we would go File, Save As, and I'm going to call this, I'll call mine Style 2 because I already have a style sheet, as you can see, pre-prepared for you just to speed the video up. So I'll call mine Style 2. You would call yours Style, of course. Okay, Style 2. Alright. Now what I'll do is I'll just open the style sheet that I pre-prepared. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Our H1 or H2 look much the same, and then we've got these new styles here. Okay, that we have attached. Okay, to our style sheet. Now you can see that this style here called info is actually called .info and .photo. Okay, now what these are classes, but we'll explain what a class and what an ID is and stuff like that later on. Okay, so I now have my style sheet prepared, and at the moment Again, if we open our browser and view our web page, at the moment we still don't have any styling applied at all. So there's no styling there, it just looks the same. Well, you might be saying, well, you know, I've created this style sheet, so why is it not changing? Okay, and the answer is because we need to link this style sheet to our page. Okay, now this style sheet can style all the pages within our website, and all we have to do is link it, and it's dead easy to actually do that. Okay, and we'll show you how to go about that right now. Okay, so in your web page, if you go to the head of the document, okay, like where you put your styles last week, okay, in here we're going to put a link to our style sheet. Okay, we're going to use the link tag, and we're going to tell it what this document actually is. We're going to tell it it's a style sheet. Make sure you don't have any typos. Style sheet, commas, the type of data contained within it will be text, CSS, and now we're going to put our reference, okay, of where it actually is, a bit like our link href. And we're going to link it to, again, style.css. We're going to link it to that file called style, okay, .css, and we'll close that. And this is one of these, the link tag's one of the tags that there's a closing tag, everything's contained within the one area. Okay, so again, if I save that now, that means that this home page is now linked to this style. Okay, and you'll see some styling, still some style changes, and some still not implemented. Okay, so again, if I go, and there we have it, we can see some styling. Okay, so we can see that our background has changed, our visit Italy. Okay, we have that. Okay, but we still haven't really changed the styles as much as we would have liked. Okay, within this task. Okay, now the reason being is that within our style sheet we have certain things. So our background of our body, background colour of the body has changed. H1 heading has changed, and the H2 heading. Fine, these are absolutely fine. But in our style sheet at the moment, we do not have anything called info or photo. Okay, so it can't find anything called info or photo to actually change, and that's where these div elements come in. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to link these things to a particular class. Okay, now classes and IDs are slightly different. Okay, the class attribute is used to specify a class of styling for a particular element, this HTML element or this div element. Multiple elements can share the same class, which means they can be styled the same. They can use the same class of styling for multiple elements throughout our web page. Normally, we would use the class attribute to point to a class name in a style sheet like we're going to use. So we're going to use the .info class name in our style sheet. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll do that, and we'll look at how we go about actually looking at that class firstly. So let's say these two photos. Okay, so the .photo class means that the text means we're going to center those photos. Okay, so if we go into the div element that opens and we type in class equals and commas photo. Okay, So that means we've added this class to this element, which will apply to this picture inside it. And we save that and we go to our browser. There we have it. So we can see that photo has now been centered. And if we do the same for, by just copying and pasting the class equals photo, we can apply that to any elements that contain our photos throughout the web page. Okay, so that means we don't have to style each individual element by itself. Alright, again back to our browser, and you can see that both photos have now been centered. Excellent stuff. Okay, so moving on, okay, we have other div elements that we haven't styled up until now. So the other one is called info. So again, we are going to put a class in here, and we'll change the photo to info. Okay, and again, if we copy that, actually let's just see how that looks in the browser first before we copy it to the second one. There we have it. Okay, that looks like our task sheet now. Okay, we're starting to get that tomato colour in. Right, and go back and we will insert the class into our next div element, which is down here. And we have that. And again, if we save that, always saving and refreshing your page, we can see that has moved for us. Okay, so we've got this rogue kind of title in here, so we want to center that, so maybe we change to the actual style sheet itself, where we will center that one up. Also, won't take us too long to do that. If we just go back into our style sheet, and again we want to change that left to center. There we are in our H2, because that is a H2 heading. Okay, change that to center, save that in our style sheet, and then if we go and we refresh here, we can see that is centered up. So there we have it. Lovely. Okay, so our page is looking great. If we go to our food page, oh, what's happened here? Okay, it's onto our home page, it looks great. Okay, our styling's in place, our food page, but none of the other pages seem to be styled. Now, believe it or not, all the hard work is already done. Okay, we have completed our style sheet, we've applied it to our first page, which is our index page. Now for every other page, such as the food page, all we have to do is add that link into the head of the document. So if I go up here and I copy the link to our CSS file, and there, okay, and I save that, go back to my browser. If I go to food, you can see that this has now been applied. Okay, but okay, small pieces have to be done, small pieces of work. Okay, such as adding our div tags round about our photos and round about the other bits and pieces in there, and applying the styles. Okay, so for example, okay, and here H1 should be fine. We need to apply our div, and you can copy and paste those. Okay, just making sure you're being accurate. Okay, and we'll close that div here, and you'll see your web page changing style as you go. Okay, hope that makes sense to you. The only other thing to mention really will be IDs, okay, which we will speak about in our next video.